What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Freedom Fire Podcast, where we want to stoke the flames of freedom every single day. My name is Kendall Bowman. We got a loaded show for you guys today, but before we get into that, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, and share the show with your friends. All right, guys, let's get into this. Arizona official demands investigation of Kari Lake on potential felony charges. Crazy, guys. Here we go. Arizona's Secretary of State, Adrian Fontes, has asked Attorney General Chris Mays to investigate and consider taking enforcement action against gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake for a potential felony offense after her Twitter account shared a graphic containing images of voter signatures on ballots she identified as having been illegally counted. Fontes asked the Attorney General in a January 30th letter to investigate and take appropriate enforcement action against Kari Lake for potential violations of Arizona law committed under her Twitter handle @Kari Lake. The Secretary of State's request to probe Lake references a January 23rd post on Twitter in which she shared 16 images of early ballot affidavits compared with signatures from voter registration records. She claimed that this is proof that nearly 40,000 ballots cast in the November gubernatorial election didn't match voter signatures on record and so were, and I quote, illegally counted. Calm down, YouTube. It's not me saying this. It's them. I think all the election deniers out there deserve an apology, Lake said in the post. State election data shows that Lake lost to Democrat Governor Katie Hobbs by just 17,000 votes. Fontes said in the letter to Mays that by sharing the ballot images on Twitter, Lake violated Arizona Rev Stat 16-168, which prohibits the unauthorized disclosure of voter registration information. Violations are a Class 6 felony, which is punishable by up to nearly 6 years in prison, according to Arizona defenders. The law cited in Fontes' letter indicates that there are circumstances under which voter information can legally be released. Nothing in this section shall preclude public inspection of voter registration records at the office of the county recorder for the purposes prescribed by this section, except that records containing a voter's signature and a voter's email address shall not be accessible or reproduced by any person other than the voter, the statute states. Lake has not addressed Fontes' referral on her personal account, but the Kari Lake War Room account on Twitter put out a statement in response. Adrian Fontes, and I'm quoting here, Adrian Fontes wants Chris Mays to investigate and potentially imprison @Kari Lake for the crime of sharing signature verification evidence that was presented before the @Arizona GOP and is currently in her lawsuit. And that's the thing right there about this whole situation. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this. Kari Lake is stating that there was voter fraud in her election. As for myself, I am not saying that. Okay? I am not saying that because YouTube will ban me, first of all. But second of all, I have no evidence. I have no clear evidence that there was voter fraud. This is for the courts to figure out, okay, if we can actually get a fair trial in this situation. But what I will say is it's extremely fishy that this Adrian Fontes would ask Chris Mays to go after Kari Lake like this when the evidence or signatures or voter verifications that she posted on her Twitter account were already released to the public 2 days before by the Arizona Senate GOP. They were already released to the public 2 days before she posted them. So why go after her? I really think Kari Lake might have something here, guys. And that's scary. It's scary to think about. The fact that elections could have issues and things like that. I'm not going to say there was fraud. Once again, I'm not going to say there was fraud. That's for the courts to figure out. But I do think that this needs to have its day in court. This needs to have its day in court so that it can be figured out and we can know the truth. And this is the problem with what happened back in 2020. There's a reason why people don't think that our elections are stable or are truthful or that we're getting the real results. There's a reason that people think that, and it's because back in 2020, when Donald Trump was saying all of the same things, all of the lawsuits after the fact were just thrown out on standing. They never even got heard in court. Specifically, the Texas v. Pennsylvania lawsuit that was supposed to happen in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court just wouldn't even hear the case. And so what happens? People just instantly believe, oh, well, it must have been. Because we never got to have it. It never got its day in court. We never were able to figure out what actually happened. Because it was just instantly thrown out without even being heard. Now, do I think that there was voter fraud? I don't know. I really don't. If there was, I hope that that the real winner wins. If there wasn't, then I hope that Katie Hobbs stays in office. But what I will say is I think that the bigger issue is not voter fraud. I would say that the bigger issue is ballot harvesting. Ballot harvesting is legal in the state of Arizona. And Tim Pool talks about this a lot on his show, Timcast IRL. I love that guy's show. But he explains this very well. So Democrats are mostly living in urban centers, large urban centers, cities, okay? All a Democrat has to do is go to an apartment complex with several hundred people living there and say, hey, they knock on the door and they say, hey, you got your ballot right there. How about you just go ahead and fill that out, and I'll go ahead and take it for you. I'll go ahead and take it. And now a person who was not originally going to vote is now filling out a ballot, and they voted. So what you get is a lot of individuals who were not going to vote are now voting. It's not voter fraud, but it's not exactly secure either. So, will I do I think that this will end up in terms of Kari Lake becoming governor? Honestly, if I had to guess, I would say no, just because it's just a long shot. I truly feel like it's a long shot. But I really hope that this gets its day in court and that all of the evidence is able to be seen and we're able to get down to the truth, guys. Because at the end of the day, if our elections are not being trusted, if 50% of the people believe that our elections are not safe and that our elections are not trustable and that we can't and that our votes don't matter, that's dangerous, guys. That's dangerous. And we can't have that. We have to be able to trust our elections in order to be able to continue on with this republic. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'll have another show for you guys tomorrow. I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.